We're there. Yay!
Hi, welcome, welcome,
Hello.
welcome. We are here. Well, my name is Padma. This is Ren. We are here having a conversation about our businesses and how we collaborate or um, bring our wisdom together to help support you in your journey. And I really am really excited to introduce Ren because she is very inspiring as a business owner. She has a business mind that I don't have. So I'm learning how to be an entrepreneur, but I'm very inspired by her just clarity and her focus in running a business. So let's Ren, just introduce yourself briefly and then I'm going to ask you some questions.
You so much. And you know what I love is like the entrepreneurial spirit in you, as you're like, there's a lot of parts, and you are so gifted and talented in your zone of genius. And then, yes, there's a whole lot of parts about that. And then that's where I come in to support the business owner so you can stay in your joy and make money. And my biggest goal is how can your business make money with or without you? And so for a lot of people, like that's like, to be in a position where for good reasons or not so positive reasons, you might need to take some time off of work. And for a lot of people, it affects their income. And this is where my goal is to change that for everyone.
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing is that I love, I guess the past few years I have been focusing on my business and it's a challenge for me, right? It's a muscle that I don't have. But as a yoga teacher, as a woman, as a kind of natural caregiver, there is this there is this kind of dismissal of making money or not really wanting to focus on it. And there's something about having the focus on money or the business or the structure be very grounding to hold a container to practice having kind of worth or
Yeah.
building beyond or having influence or right that so much comes from kind of anchoring and creating a container for a business and building it and being conscious around it and conscious about spending and just having it work for us rather than working for the money all the time. And so I really appreciate this path and this kind of merging of kind of not wanting to look at money in business and then really seeing I guess the gift of looking at it, being in it, doing this inquiry.
Yeah. Oh,
So
thank you for that. And I love how you just say, it's a path and it's a journey. And it's really that self-expression. And that's where, like, for myself to be able to take like my interests and then be able to monetize that and then support myself. And that's the vision that so many people have going into their own business. And that's inspiring. And I'm sure, like I see you nodding, like probably part of why you went into having your own business for yourself is to share that amazingness with the world.
yeah, and have some self-sufficiency and influence over my family, choices of, what my son and I can do. And it just feels like that's what we're supposed to do, right? That we need to have some autonomy in this world financially.
Yeah, and it's like almost that human like act of dignity, like that it comes from blessing however money comes to us. It might come from a spouse or someone that's supporting us while we're supporting others. Though looking at all forms of income as this blessing with money and what we get to do in the world. And for so many people, it's tied instead to strife or doing something that you don't like or being in a relationship that you don't like to then have to receive the money. And so that's where when we change the energies around it and being able to have our own income streams that feel good doing things that we love to do, that is so blessing for us and for the people that we're supporting and Usually in our sphere, because if we're happy, generally the people around us are going to be benefiting from that.
Yeah, I do think that's important. I think it's important to just be able to have authority over how money is being made. I think that we've had predominantly these very limited views of how money is made. Like people have always been like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm doing it. It's just not in a box. It's not in a container, right? It's like movement therapist, energy healer, um, body worker. And it's like, these are things that um, you don't get your 401k plan, you don't get your retirement fund, but these are valuable kind of assets in our community, and creating a business around that is really kind of been interesting and important.
So important. And then the other stretch for people, and I'm not sure how you would fall into this, though I know a lot of people who are physically seeing clients, there's only so much capacity that you have, especially if it's tied to like an hourly rate. And so this is where looking at money and expanding on that is having that choice and that autonomy to choose to work one-on-one or even physically with clients, because you know that's where people grow. And at the same time, your income earning capacity and everything flowing in does not have to be on this glass ceiling. And so this is where we look at what are other ways that you could have your money working for you. And that's where that threshold is, when can there be so much money coming in that you're not having to physically work for that your needs are met, and then everything else is from more abundance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's been the eye-opening that I've had recently, just of how to create different forms of income streams, right? It's almost like creating the invitation, right? Because these are things that I'd never even thought about before. And so what are some of I know that you talk about, well, first I want to hear the story about the business with the animals.
Yes. So I got my start, just to backtrack a little from there, as a kid, I loved animals. And so then you kind of alluded to it. What do we ask our kids? What do you want to be when you grow up? And they're usually job descriptions. So mine was like zookeeper. I don't like cleaning up poop. Vet. Oh, I don't really like sick animals. Dolphin trainer. That's fun, though you're wet all day. And so it just was like the jobs were not appealing, though I loved animals. And then at 15, I had the incredible privilege of hearing the great Jim Rohn, who just shifted this mindset. And I was like, okay, I've always wanted this dream. And how many of us, we want to be rich when we're a kid and buy all our dreams. So it was like, I had that. And then to have a guy go, okay, and the key to doing that is to have your own business. So
Mm,
then it was like, I just had the intention then, as like churning through high school, I'm going to have my own business. And then I still had that, and I'm an animal lover. I love animals. My heart sings when I'm with birds. And so then at 19 years old, I had opened my own petting zoo. And so I had a business partner who took care of all the animals, and that was her dream. And then I had my dream of, I'm going to run a business. And my goal was literally starting the business that weekend. I was like, I want a business where I don't have to be there every day. And that was my vision. Well, 6 years later, the company, now I have an entire business. I have a 2-acre ranch, over 500 animals, a huge staff, lots of celebrity parties. I had just become a mom and I adopted kids. So now suddenly I was a mom of 3, and I realized I don't have time freedom. If I'm not doing 7 birthday parties every weekend, my paycheck is going to have it. And who set up that paycheck? Me. And I had at 19, I didn't upgrade the mindset of working for money. I went like most people do. They go in business for themselves. And then as business grows, they start to pay themselves. And then their business grows. And now I have a whole household and my whole house and all my dreams. And I got my dream car. And oh, snap. Now I suddenly have these 3 kids and I want to take them to their friends' birthday parties. and I got to work. And that was my huge wake up call that really led me to what can I be creating with my time differently? Because otherwise, there was always going to be this need to work for money. And so that was how my own financial freedom journey began. And so it was just like, and that's where now I did things differently. So all my next businesses and there on out, I've always had a virtual assistant. And I look at where I can build myself out of the business and just come for the parts that I love. And that's now how I've grown and continue to grow, and then be teaching other business owners how to do those same things.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm just having kind of light bulbs go off, but I think that I do think that entrepreneur and having your own business is, it just seems like that's just maybe just a more productive path for some of us who are less or more creative, who don't want to be in the box, or who have lots of ideas, or who need more time and space, or mothers,
Oh my gosh.
artists, right? Like that there's so many of us that don't fit in the, oh, I can leave for, from 9 to 5, from 8 to 6 every day and just go work. Um, and it does give you some freedom. It also just allows creative expression, right? Which I think is really important.
Yep.
And right. And it lets you do something that you love. I mean, I really love what I do. And I think that it's really important. And there is something about then then if this is such a valuable tool, then how do we share it? How do we get it out there even more so that the corporations aren't the only one making money, that we can also be huge contributors and be taken care of.
And this is where we have the conversation about AI, because all the stuff I've been talking about and teaching for years and years and years is all valid. And now we can do it in seconds or milliseconds instead of hours or days of our brain power. And that is where everything is speeding up. And it is just truly phenomenal when you're using AI for good. Just like the internet is very much used for good and bad, AI can definitely be used for both. And I think it's fair enough to say AI is probably not going away, just like the internet is probably not going to go away. So that's where I like to teach our business owners. And specifically, though anybody can learn some great things from my trainings, though we use it in terms of our business, is where can we use this tool to create assets for ourselves, to get things done faster, to get things finished? How many things are sitting on your to-do list haunting for so long? And if you actually got them done, they would probably make money for you.
Yeah. And I know you just recently did a webinar or a training, a workshop on AI and how to implement it into your business, how to bring it in and use the tools. And so I also know that you're offering it as a recorded webinar or recorded workshop. And so we'll
Yes.
put the link below for that so that you can check that out, because it does help to have um, a way to navigate, because AI is like anything. You have to know a little bit how to use it before you can use it. And it does have an incredible capacity to help me focus, right? And I've learned how to not fully, but communicate with it. It's definitely a conversation back and forth of how to use AI to find my voice and help me clarify what I'm saying and help me just do the tasks that are harder for me to do, right? Because I can stay in the very creative space, but the tasks are
Yeah.
one not as interesting
Yeah.
and harder to do.
And then what I like to venture with people is it's really looking that it's not that AI is going to replace you. It's
Mm.
that somebody that uses AI could replace you. So as Padma gets a little more experienced with this tool that she's playing with and she gets more comfortable, maybe she's going to use that in her email open rates. So she gets subject lines that really captivate people. So now more people are opening her emails And maybe she used a little AI in there so the emails are a little more engaging and people are clicking on it. And they're maybe buying from her emails or scheduling calls. So this is where looking at that little threshold between somebody who uses this as a tool to just fine tune and enhance, because chances are, we're not all expert internet marketers skilled in this, that, or the other. We're amazing in our gifts. And so then it's like handing you $150,000 to go hire the very best expert in your field or their field, really, for the job that you want done. So, do you want amazing social media headlines, or do you want email marketing, or do you want someone to help you come up with an introduction for a live event that you're doing? And then when Padma's getting introduced on stage, that the script that somebody's reading about her could be from an AI, and it can be an amazing introduction, and her audience is like, so those are just some ways to get the juices flowing on looking at this business tips and training that can really do some wonders in your life.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I've even used it for sometimes I'll put in an email in there and it just helps me clarify language. It helps me kind of fluff up a little bit of what, fluff up what I'm saying. So it just sounds a little brighter.
I've used it to
And,
condense things or to expand upon things.
yeah.
Sometimes I know I had a wonderful lady on actually, I think she was on the live training saying that she speaks in a grade 13 level. Well, most of, people are operating and they say right to like a sixth grade level. So then she's asking AI, can you please reword my writing so it's so that somebody could understand it at this level? So there's different ways that you can also be using it. It could translate if that would be a benefit in your niche. Mm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I know sometimes it gives me an answer and I'm like, that sounds like it's too academic, it's too cerebral. And then it comes back as like a 20-year-old and I'm like, no, 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 you went too far the other way.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's like, yo, cool. And I'm like, no.
Oh my
No,
God.
no, 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 no. But it does help me clarify what feels right for me. What feels right, what doesn't feel right.
And it sure removes that blank page syndrome because that is so many people's blocks. And then it's like, oh, I can do better than that. Or it's like sometimes I'll run it through and I just get one word that pops out. And then I use that one word and put it into my content.
Yeah, yeah. I've also, you get ideas for titles, you get it actually once I don't even know what I asked it, but it just popped out a whole schedule for a workshop and I was like, that's not really what I asked, but that's interesting.
Oh my gosh. And then you can look at analytics. I just was having it compare softwares for me.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
super helpful. Like asking Google Bard to do things because that's tied into Google and active searching. So I go into a lot about tips for Google Bard, which is comparative in ways to Chat GPT, which is just getting known as like the Uber of the taxi world. So Chat GPT is a great asset. And there's other ones you should know about and when to use them. So there's some cool ways. And also, if you're not on page one of Google in your niche, you can be asking Google Bard to do some keyword research for you. And knowing so then you can be getting free organic traffic. And then if you're like, wait, well, then how do I put this into my website? Well, then ask it and it will give you a detailed explanation. So using it as an owner's manual, a tool for that. It can be, I'm looking at these ingredients in my fridge, what's a quick recipe and with these dietary restrictions. So there's like so many ways that you can save time and make money with AI.
Yeah, that's great. And so what I'm hearing from you is really just learning how to utilize it as a tool. And I do think I know there are a lot of people who are like, we just had a whole, I live in Santa Cruz, so I'm like next to the conversation about AI.
Yes, you sure are.
And yeah, it's actually quite fascinating. But um, I do think that it's like anything. We need to understand things so that we have choice, right? If we don't understand it, then we don't know. It just becomes this kind of big scary thing, and we don't. we don't have choice to use it or not use it, but and knowing that it is going to be here and it is going to start to move into our society in ways that, well, we don't even know yet. I mean, I hear, I mean, they've been doing road planning using AI. They did a 25-year perspective of this county and how to deal with incoming traffic flows and what that would mean, right? More like an urban planning thing. And they've been doing that through AI. And it's just, it, it's here. It is here. And so, how do we use it in a way that feels right for us and helps us? And so, yes, having all of the support to use it and the tips are really helpful.
Yep.
So
Like
I
one,
look
go
at
get Chat GPT on your phone as an app. That's a great way at your fingertips to just start playing with it. I wasn't utilizing it as much when I would have to be at my computer. So once I got the app, I'm just starting to play around. You can literally ask it, what could you help me with? And so there's a lot of ways. And also, if you haven't used it, to just be open to giving it another shot and refining it, because that's where, look at the people who adopted the internet a long time ago and got their businesses really up and thriving, and then those who are still resisting it and only just beginning to think about getting their businesses on the internet. And so, same thing, I just invite you to AI, is we're still near the beginnings. People are definitely using it. So looking at it as a tool where it can support you, and that way it really helps you thrive. And that is my goal for everyone, is within earshot. So please click the link. It's free for a limited time. After that, you're always welcome to buy it. Though it's some great, amazing resources. And I'll also put a link to my Facebook group so that way you can stay in the latest trainings. I do way more besides AI. So if you have bookkeeping, or you need to be on the front page of Google, or you're looking at sales funnels, or maybe thinking about a virtual assistant, all of those components of business are things that I talk about with our Financial Freedom and Joy group for entrepreneurs.
great. And then one last thing I want to say about AI, because I do think that in my like I'm much more of a like my focus with people who come to me with body pain, right? That's kind of what I've been focusing on a lot lately. And so really reconnecting to the body. And so we've been focused on this kind of artificial intelligence. And so, as important as that is, I want people to remember that our inner intelligence, right, that we can't really connect to an outer intelligence and use it with integrity if we don't know what our inner intelligence is, right? So when we talk about refining our message and refining how we want to use it in business, that I do think that learning how to listen to our own body, learning how to listen. And I know that we've gotten away from this as a culture. So this is part of kind of me raising my hand and saying, like, we still need to do the inner practices of listening, right? What I walk people through is really simple things like body sensation, felt sense, orienting, inner awareness, emotional awareness, and letting that be a platform for intuition, right? Because we all are intuitive. We all are um, incredibly intelligent on many levels, and we ultimately have access to a ton of information about the world, about our inner environment, about what our needs are as far as, food and care and and what we need in order to ground ourselves, what we need in order to heal, what we need to say to our doctor. Like, we have a lot of that information internally. And so using that in conjunction, right, that it needs to be a dual language, just like any relationship, right?
Yeah.
That even assessing our children, like, we know how to assess, we know how to track our children, but we also have to track ourselves,
Oh my
right?
gosh. And I love that intuition piece that you speak to. So, like, even thinking about, when the AI is spitting back a word, what does resonate? Like, that's where it's using your human self. And it's not, I mean, In a quick pitch, sure, copy paste things, get it out there. It's better than done. Though, as for refining things and using those words, you are the guide and listen to yourself. And I love that body wisdom, Padma. So, thank you so much for bringing that in, because it's only with these tools in a good conscience that we can really use them to the benefit of society rather than the detriment.
And the benefit to our own business, right? That we're not trying to be somebody else. We're not trying to be uniform or computerized, that we are really trying to find our unique voice and allowing these tools to support us to get there, whatever that tool is.
It sure is. And you sharing your gifts with the world, that's the win win. And using these tools to make more money in your business and get your dreams, that's the joy of a business owner and why we started it. Yes, we give to the world. And also, we also get to do it for ourselves and have that and have the business be supporting and nourishing us.
Right, because I think that, I mean, I love seeing more and more businesses come up, and I love seeing, just this whole the entrepreneurship that I know started to explode during 2020 and COVID, and that it's becoming more, it's still like, it's still wobbly because not everyone is on the internet anymore, but there still is a way to have a business and an online business and an in-person business and a an impactful business and a successful business, as an entrepreneur in this time, right?
It's
Just
so it.
yeah, it's so good. It's so good for all of us, right? Just to, decentralize a little bit and get autonomous. It's good.
It sure is. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for your beautiful blessing and for having me on here to share about the AI stuff. So we'll make sure you can have the links here. Also share this with a friend. So both of, us share amazing gifts. So connect with Padma. We'll make sure that she has her links too if you're seeing this from my platform, because this is a lady you want to be in her world. So please connect with Padma. We'll make sure both of these things are here.
And thank you so much for your spirit and your enthusiasm and your wicked smart mind. And it's such a pleasure to always connect with you. Thank you so much. And yes, all the links will be below, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook
Awesome.
or wherever.
Love you all.
Bye.